Mike, how did you become involved in the polygraph?
That's a question I get asked quite a lot by a number of our clients. Um, in essence, my background is that I was a detective in the West Midlands Police for 28 years. I was assaulted on duty and had to retire a couple of years early because of that assault. From there on, I retrained as a legal advocate and registered with the Law Society of England and Wales to represent anyone who is arrested for crime in the West Midlands or anywhere in England and Wales, in fact. And following on from that, I got interested in the first advertised elections for the Police and Crime Commissioner. I was very disappointed with the way the police service was being run, and I thought I could do a better job. That's the bottom line with it. So I put myself up as an independent advocate. I wasn't successful at the elections, but during that campaign, I met a number of people that were asking some really interesting and inspired questions of us all as potential police and crime commissioners. What were we going to do? How were we going to improve things? And the one thing that came up time and time again was how would we improve the detection and successful conviction of people involved in serious sexual offences, especially rape. Now, I don't know if you're aware, but sadly the conviction rate for rape is extremely low. We're talking of less than 10%. Awfully low. But the reality of it is that most rapes happen on a one-to-one basis with no witnesses about, and in fact, it's been proved statistically that quite a number of rapes are committed by people that you know. Well, this doesn't make good evidence in a court because you get some very articulate barristers standing there and tearing you apart, as we'd seen in the past. So when they were asking this question, it made me look back at my history. As a police officer, I'd arrested people for serious sexual offences and rapes, and some had gone to court, others hadn't, because the evidence threshold as far as the Crown Prosecution Service, the CPS, were concerned, hadn't been reached. Again, usually because it's, yes, you've raped me, no, it was consensual type of scenario that we'd got just one-to-one and no other witnesses. So I started to look after the elections at exactly how the sexual offences were being investigated and dealt with in other countries, just to see if there were any other avenues that we could look at. Bearing in mind, I'd got this background as a detective and then qualifying as a legal advocate so I could represent anyone who'd been arrested for those offences anywhere in England and Wales. The one thing I did find out was in America they use the polygraph test. Now, I made several inquiries about it. I've got some very good contacts over there, and they all said the same thing. Mike, you will never really understand how the polygraph works because you haven't been trained with the polygraph. We can give you the final outcome, but how we come to that, that's something that you'd need to be on a course and do the full training course before you'd understand that. I took them at face value, and sometime later I was recruited onto a course that was being run in Bulgaria for the first time. One of the premier American Polygraph Association training schools, the Baxter School of Lie Detection, run by the great Cleve Baxter, came to Bulgaria to train a number of people there, some working for the government, some in private employment. But of course, because that's an ex-Soviet bloc country, they were used to the polygraph. The Soviets had been using it as long as the Americans. There just wasn't much talk between the two of them because of the stupidity of the way the world reacts. So when I was looking at this and I went on the course there, I was astounded how the polygraph was working and how accurate it was. And I very much hoped that at one point in the future we would perhaps use the polygraph to support the investigation of serious sexual offences. Since then, I've developed our company. I've recruited a number of excellent staff that work with me, all members of the American Polygraph Association, all members of the UK Polygraph Association, and some members of the UK APPE. On that point, please don't contact me if you're interested in working for me as a polygraph examiner. That's not how it works with our company. I go out there and I headhunt my staff. There is a lot of background checks that I insist on running. And once those staff work for me, they very rarely leave. In fact, one of my colleagues now, we're just celebrating his 22nd year working for me, either as a legal representative and then latterly as a polygraph examiner as well. So that's a long-winded background to why I'm involved in the polygraph. I know the value of the polygraph. If you have any issues that you need to resolve, where you need to prove whether someone is lying or telling the truth about something that has happened in the past, please give us a call. You can have a free consultation. It's 0203 965 1755. 0203 965 1755. Or you can go online, www.liedetectortest.org. Now make sure it's www.liedetectortest.org. You will see that there are companies out there that have tried to mirror our image and capitalize on the good work that we've done here by copying most or part of our name. So just be careful. Always look to make sure they're members of the UK Polygraph Association.